How's it going? It's Grampy. Yep. What an adventure today. So, Grampy was plowing for the billionth time. Look at the snow out there, and just kind of came onto the old handle here a little bit too much. And what happened was, if you can see right up and in there, let me see if I can get a light a little bit better. Right up and in here, where you can see that weld. And I have another video on here, my buddy Kenny by the River welding it for me. And so I said, well, that's not fun. So it was stuck in reverse, and I was up the end of the driveway, and that the whole gear shift lever handle just snapped off. So what I ended up doing was backing it down. Thankfully it was in reverse, and raised the plow blade on it, got it down to the house, and then went, well, no time like the present to learn stuff from YouTube. So Grampy got it out here in the shed, which is not too bad. There's a nice little Coleman lantern there heating the place up, and a nice little wood stove over here. And I said, well, it needs an oil change too. And wouldn't I be lucky enough to know that it is a royal pain in the arse to change the oil. So here's the oil dipstick, and there's the filter, right? Well, in order to get at that, you have to pretty much disassemble the whole thing. And I will tell you, these last three here and on this side are nasty. So the top, cover seat comes off pretty easy, and then this snaps off, and then the top cap snaps off. That's pretty easy. But in order to get to that filter, to change the oil, by the rule of the road. Now, I know there's some guys that sneak in there and break the panel off and stuff, but Grampy said, well, I got to get in here anyway. So I backed it up on these ramps, and parking brakes on, and I had a fire going, and I said, well, I got to get at the oil change anyway, so let's see if I can do it. So I ripped this all apart, and I will tell you, there's the only trick that I found to get this piece. So 5 in here, fairly easy. And then there was these obvious ones here. But inside here, thankfully there's a really nice video out there. I'm not gonna bore you with an oil change, but if you look 450 Outlander Can-Am, you'll find it. But there's a bolt that's back in here that's actually got a nut on it. So you got to get in at it to get this back panel off to unhook it from this. And then up here, there's a couple of more, a couple of hex screws here, and then just some more pops and stuff that you have to undo. But the real issue is unsnapping this thing from this to have enough leverage. And as you can see, if you look down in here, this is where all the dirt and grime come in. So you can also see from the snaps how they wedge up in there. So once they're up and inside and snapped in, really you have to force these back as you're prying up, and there's really no leverage to pry up, so to snap them out of those hooks. And then there's not much play on the floor panel here either. So what I did was I just wedged a flat screwdriver between here and here, and kind of give it some up leverage. There's enough flexibility here to get a screwdriver in and then wedge it up while you're snapping it one at a time. So you're pop one, pop another, and pop another. And then I did it on the back end too. And then you got to kind of wiggle it around a bit to make sure you're not snapping anything else and all the other little plastic bits. And then out it came. So this is good. I mean, we're out. It's a dry garage. It's a nice day. And I ended up taking, and this off wasn't too bad either. Right here, you got to be very careful inside here. There's a bushing. So if you're like Grampy tends to drop stuff and then can't find it anymore. Luckily, I felt the bushing that was inside. So there's a nut on the back of this, and there's freaking ones with nylon, so you got to hold on to it the whole way out. There's that one. I did take these off just to take this cover off and see how tight I could get it in there, because I wasn't sure why I had snapped it in the first place. I know massive Popeye Grampy arms, but still, I shouldn't have done it. And what I think was happening was, as I was going too far forward, it was probably catching, I think, and then I could hear the gear. I could hear the gear sometimes in low, just not quite getting there, so I had to adjust it. So I know I was slamming it back and forth quite a bit, so maybe that's it. I'll be a little bit more ginger from now on, but what an awesome job by KBTR, man, Kenny by the River. So, pardon me, you can see that it's all back together and it seems to be moving the linkage, no problem, into the right spot. So, with that, Grampy's gonna go on and do the oil change, which looks fairly simple now. You drain it from under the bottom with and then you get a kit here anyway, so it's got all the pieces to it, and then try to put this back together. Now I'm pretty certain that these will snap in place a lot easier than they unsnapped, but then it's just wiggling all the plastic bits back in again and stuff. So anyway, big shout out to Kenny by the River for that, and we're back on the road because we got some more freaking snow coming tonight, and yeah, so she'll be all ready to go. So that's Grampy, and that's Grampy with a 450 Outlander and an oil change. So if you're doing that, like I said, don't use Grampy's video. There's a really good one online, and I'll probably try to link to it. And we're gonna give her a bit of a cleanup and maybe give her some fresh fluids, and then get her back out there to plow more snow. All right, Grampy out.